Today I'm going to be talking about Part A, which is my history and education, and Part B, which is my educational philosophy. My schooling experience was a very social and personalised approach, where I had a strong group of friends which developed in primary school and transitioned to high school as I attended a K-12 private school. I also had a good relationship with most of my teachers who encouraged me to want to enjoy my learning experience. The person I am today was shaped in my high school experience through both social and personal aspects. At the start of high school, socially, I thrived with being a part of a group as it made me feel a sense of belonging. My school had new group sections for students to sit at break times, which was inclusive for everyone, as there was always a place to enjoy breaks. When I entered the senior school, though, our year group at the time was not allocated a place for breaks. This is when I noticed that my large group in middle school was now split into smaller groups. With this, I struggled with finding a group that I would fit into. It made me feel like I was not a part of anything. After this experience, my primary school group rekindled. It was a much smaller group of only 5 people, but it made me feel great about myself. I understood I did not need to be surrounded by a large group of people to feel safe and comfort. But I just needed a few close friends who cared about everyone individually to feel comfort and belonging. This experience made me understand what it feels like to be alone and not realizing this at the time, but then realizing what it actually feels like to be a part of something good. This experience developed my social skills and ability to connect with other students individually and to create a deeper understanding of their own lives and feelings. I enjoyed this as I created better relationships with other students, and we helped each other through the rest of high school. This constructed my views on becoming a teacher, as I learnt that I was good at interacting individually with people, and my aim as a teacher is to make every student feel connected and a part of a group where they feel belong and grow their own social skills and understanding of people how I did. This was a large influence on my decision to enter teaching, as I want students to be able to understand that it is okay to feel alone and disconnected, but to guide students on how to connect with other students to help each other grow, as I believe a big part of growth is guidance and learning from the teacher, but a large part of growth is from students helping other students throughout their own high school experience together. Another high school experience that strongly impacted my decision to becoming a teacher was my connection with other teachers, this being in particular my PDHP teacher called Miss Strong. I had this teacher from Year 7 through to Year 12, and she encouraged my growth inside the classroom and outside. Throughout high school, I played a lot of soccer and wanted to concentrate on both schoolwork and soccer, but found this very difficult. My teacher was always pushing me to improve because she understood my potential. She allowed extra time and support in my free periods or at break time to help me catch up on classwork when I had to leave school for soccer tournaments. She helped me create personal goals for school and soccer and regularly checked in with them. Even though she would push me, she always allowed time to check in with other teachers with my progress and my own health. This improved my attitude towards school and sport greatly. From this experience, I understood how important a personal approach to teaching is. You don't know what's going on in the background of a student's life, and this experience taught me to understand my future students' passions and goals, and to help them enjoy their values whilst also enjoying school and learning that at the same time. Miss Strong was a large influence on my decision to become a teacher based off her personalised approach, an encouraging way to help students thrive in the classroom and outside of school. As I've learnt to manage my own time better since leaving high school, from all the support and guidance she gave me, this has definitely helped me currently in university now. Moving on to Part B, I'm going to talk about my philosophy teaching statement. Creating a good philosophy of teaching will help me as a pre-service teacher to understand how I want to be remembered as a teacher when I'm working in my profession. Tate says, A philosophy statement should address problems about how we construct knowledge and how we produce a just society. My philosophy statement is based on the aims and the history of education and how these support the type of teacher that I want to be and how I want my students to remember me. My philosophy statement is to be a teacher who understands the unique learning ways of every student by creating a personal teaching approach to guide students' learning and personal development and growth. I want to educate students on how they can use their knowledge and values to create a better environment in school, society, and their personal lives. By achieving this philosophy statement, I can teach students the importance of education and to understand and help students find their own values and goals in life and understand their potential throughout school and their future. At the beginning of the 21st century, educational discussion is dominated by talk of standards, and the reason given for this emphasis is always economic, to give every child an opportunity to do well financially. The aim of education is slowly changing, however, in high social class schools that encourage pressure on the aim of standards and economy stated by Tate. This creating an emphasis on the pressure of children to perform at school to gain economic superiority. I agree that this is still taking place in some schools today. However, I believe that this aim of education is a construct for society, as if we continue this method in schools, students are not individually cared for. Instead, they are there to produce a good education to improve society. Noddings makes a statement saying the jobs that today pay only poverty wages will still have to be done. And so as long as we measure success in schools competitively, there will be losers. This statement relates to the current ways of society and creates added pressure on students about what career paths they should be taking. My philosophy is opposed to the idea that society shapes students, but more so that students should be able to learn freely what they value and pursue, what they enjoy as a career, no matter the economic result. This closely relates to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. As one of the rights states, children have the right to live a full life. Government should ensure that children survive and develop healthily. This right correlates with the aim of education that children should be able to live a full life and develop how they want to without being socially constructed by some schooling systems. The history of schooling plays a part in my philosophy as well, with the development of teachers and students from the 1800s to today. The teacher was to become less didactic and more of a creator of learning environments, a more subtle educator, someone able to engage and focus the natural curiosity of the child towards a teaching subject. Teachers are changing from authority figures to more friend-like and creating positive learning environments for personal growth of students. This method allows students to become more involved in their own education as well. This correlates with the statement in Alice Springs for young Australians to develop personal values and attributes such as honesty, empathy, loyalty, responsibility, and respect for others and educators. They should be helping young adults to develop healthy peer relationships. This relating to the growth of students in schools to be not just through education in class, but education on life. It is important as a future teacher to adapt to the current social media and technology that students are surrounded by. Schools today still adapt the pressure of standardization with specific learning outcomes and assessment, and many argue that progressive methods don't allow students to develop social skills, literacy, and numeracy. I agree that as a future teacher, these essential skills need to be learnt, but this can be in different progressive learning ways that incorporate current technology and media to gain not just essential skills, but technology skills. Through this, I can understand the growth of teachers and students and gain better knowledge of how to improve personally. We make decisions about what forms of knowledge are important for society and to reproduce and pass on to generations. Understanding this and why we educate will help me to implement my philosophy into my own teaching practices and creates knowledge and what society wants from education and what students want from education.